Good morning, guys. So today we're going to do a grammar review of all of the units so that you guys can practice and prepare for the final exam. So let's get right into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the present continuous. So the present continuous is always going to be for ongoing actions or for something that is happening at the moment. So let's just do a quick reminder here at the top that it's going to be subject plus verb to be plus the main verb of the sentence in the ing form. So just keep that in mind as we're doing this activity here. Subject plus verb to be plus the verb in the ing form. So the activity says complete each sentence with the present continuous form of the verb from the box. And we have 6 different verbs. We have brush, clean, cook, do, take, and wash. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to look it over, and then we're going to look at the answers together. Okay, ready? So let's go with number 1. I blank lunch right now. So if we're talking about lunch and we take a look at our verbs, it's safe to assume that this is I am cooking lunch right now using the ing form of the verb and the corresponding verb to be for the pronoun. What about number 2? How can we complete number 2? You blank your homework. So let's go here. And this one is going to be you are doing your homework. Again, with the verb to be and the ing form of the verb. So let's take a look at number 3. Number 3, he blank a shower. So let's complete it. He, what's the verb to be that goes with he? He is taking a shower. That's right. Number 4, she blank her hair. So if we take a look at the remainder of the verb selections that we have, we can say that this is probably going to be brushing. She is brushing her hair, right? Always with the verb to be and the ing form of the verb. Number 5, we just have 2 more to go. So number 5 is we blank the car now. And I think that this one is going to be we are washing, right? We are washing the car now. And you can see the keyword now. We know that this action is happening at the moment. And then finally, we just have one more, which is number 6. They blank their bedrooms. So the verb to be that corresponds with they are cleaning their bedrooms. So please remember that for the present continuous, we have to use the subject plus the verb to be plus the verb in its ing form. So hopefully you guys understand that and obviously make sure to practice so that you guys are ready for the final exam. So let's erase everything and we can continue to the next one. So here we have the same present continuous, but now we're going to talk about the ing forms or the present continuous form in the negative. So Let's turn them into negative. It says, now complete the negative sentences. So, number one, I'm cooking lunch right now. And then it says, I blank cooking breakfast. So, give you guys a couple seconds. How can we make this a negative sentence? I apologize, guys. I have a little cold this morning, some allergies, so my nose is a little stuffy. How can we complete this? That's right. We have to use the verb to be and then the negation. So I am not cooking breakfast. So we have the affirmative. I'm cooking lunch right now. I am not cooking breakfast. Let's go with number two. Number two, you're doing your homework. You blank doing the dishes. So let's give you a couple seconds and we will use the negative form. That's right. You are not. Remember that we have the both forms. You are not, but we also have the contraction, right? And I think the contraction is more common. So we're going to use the contraction here. You aren't doing the dishes. Both of them are correct, but one is just a little easier and more common to use. What about number three? He's taking a shower. Give you a couple seconds. How can we complete number three? That's right. He's not, or he isn't taking a shower. Very well. Number four, she's brushing her hair. She blank brushing her teeth. So, since it's third person, he, she, it, that's right. We're going to use the same exact one. She isn't brushing her teeth. What about number five? We're washing the car now. So now we have to use aren't. We aren't washing the dog. And then we have number six. Number six, they're cleaning their bedrooms. They aren't cleaning the bathroom. Very well. I apologize for that. So those are the negation forms or the negative forms of the present continuous. Okay, so hopefully you guys were able to understand that better. And now we will continue with the next one. Let's clear the board, the screen, and we can move along. So here we have some more present continuous, and this is for you guys to see if you can spot some differences. It says, describe the pictures and find 7 differences. So here we have a good example at the top that says, the mother is maybe mopping the kitchen, or we can say she is cleaning the kitchen. So here we could put, she is cleaning the kitchen. The mother isn't maybe cooking in the kitchen, right? She's not cooking, she's actually cleaning. And what about the father? The father is, again, maybe cleaning. So let's put maybe mopping. We'll put it here below. The father is mopping the kitchen. So I'll give you guys some time. Go ahead and try to use some of the useful language that we have down here at the bottom. We have grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, daughter, son, child, dog, and cat. Try to see if you can identify them in the picture, and then maybe you can use some of the verbs to help you complete some sentences. So I'll give you a couple seconds for you guys to come up with your own examples. While you guys are thinking of your examples, I think I'll put a few of my examples down here as well. So I think the grandmother is doing the dishes, right? You can see her in the back. She is doing the dishes, right? What about the cat? I think the cat is drinking some water, okay? Always using the verb to be and the ing form of the verb. So I'll give you guys a couple more seconds. Try to come up with your own examples, okay? All right, so hopefully you were able to come up with some examples. And now we're going to continue with the next part. So now we're going to talk about the question forms. So let's talk a little bit about the present continuous question forms. How do we make questions? We can use information questions by using the information question words, what, where, when, why, who, or we can ask yes and no questions by beginning the question with the verb to be. So let's see if we can complete these question forms. I'll give you the first two as an example, and then you guys will have to complete the rest. So here we have the question word, where. Then we have to include the verb to be, is. Now we need a subject, Anna, and now we're going to use the ing form of the verb. Where is Ina going? Okay. Question word, WH, verb to be, subject, plus the verb in ing form. So let's take a look at number two. Now, number two does not have a question word. So this is going to indicate that this is a yes and no question. So let's begin. Is she riding her bike there? And because it's a yes and no question, we have to begin with the verb to be, is, am, are. And obviously for yes and no questions, we have to answer yes or no. So, oops, I misspelled that. Is she riding her bike there? All right, so now I'll give you guys some time to come up with the other examples, and then we can check it together at the end. So go ahead and complete. Okay, so let's do it together. Number three, how is she getting there? Right? Question word, verb to be, subject, and then the ing form of the verb. Number four, what is she carrying? Question word, verb to be, subject, and then the ing form of the verb. What about number five? Why is she carrying it? Why is she carrying it, right? So we have the ing form. And then we have number 6. Is her father waiting for her? And now this is a question, a yes and no question. So we're going to begin with the verb to be. Is is her father waiting for her? In this case, this is the subject. Here we have the verb plus the ing. But I have to correct this spelling. How can I correct this? Carrying, right? What is she carrying? Why is she carrying it? There we go. All right, guys. So hopefully you understand now a little bit better and have a clear understanding of the question forms. Remember, we have 2 question styles. We have WH questions, information questions, and then we also have yes and no questions when we just want a direct answer. Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Okay. Very well. So let's go on to the next topic. The next topic is going to be more of the present continuous. So it says, are you riding your bike? Choose an activity from the box. Don't tell the other students. Ask questions to guess the other students' activities. Answer the other students' questions about your activity. So here we have an example. Diego, are you riding your bike? No, I'm not. Are you taking the subway? No, I'm not. Are you drinking coffee? No, I'm not. What are you doing? And now we would have to see what we are doing, right? So we'll do a couple questions examples. So let's say that I'm asking you guys, let's say Susanna. Susanna, are you eating anything? Right? Then we could say something like, are you talking to anyone? And then maybe one more question could be, is there any music playing? So those could be some questions if we wanted to ask someone what they're doing. Obviously, you guys can choose your own activity. Choose your own activity and come up with some questions for identifying the activity. So I'll give you some time and try to come up with your own questions. All right, so go ahead and type your questions, and then maybe we can answer them together to practice. Remember to do an information question. For example, where are you going? Right? You can do yes and no questions and information questions. All right, guys. So go ahead and type your questions. And now we will erase, and hopefully you guys were able to practice your question forms. Please feel free to pause the video so you can practice. But in this case, we will continue. Okay, so the next one is going to be can and can't for ability. And then we can also use well. So it says complete the sentences with can or can't. Remember, affirmative form is can, negative is can't. So let's see if we can come up with our own, let's see if we can complete the sentences together. You blank draw and paint really well. You're a real artist. So because this is a compliment and we're saying that you are a great or a real artist, I believe this one would be can. So you can draw and paint really well. What about number two? We blank sing and play the guitar well. We're in a band. So if they're in a band, I think we can assume that this is can. We can sing and play the guitar well. We're in a band. All right. So I'll give you guys a couple moments to go ahead and complete the rest, and then we will check it together. All right. So let's complete it together. Let's see if you guys were able to identify the correct forms. So here we have two blanks. They blank dance, but they blank do it well. So if here we have well, we know this is going to be good. So we can say they can dance, but they can't do it well, right? They can dance, but they can't do it well. What about number four, Nicole? Nicole blank swim really well, but she blank surf. So I think this is going to be Nicole can swim really well, but she can't surf. Number five, I can snowboard well because we see that this is doing something in a good manner. And then the second one says, oh, sorry, this would be incorrect because we're asking. So if we're going to ask, we're going to use I can't snowboard well because here in the second part, we can see that it's asking for help. Can you teach me? And then finally, we have number six, Gavin. So Gavin can fix your car, your bike, but he can't fix your car. He's not a mechanic. All right, guys. So maybe you can come up with your own examples, write your own examples in the comments below so that you guys can practice the differences between can and can't. Also, practice the pronunciation. I know many of you have a hard time when it comes to pronouncing can, can't, can, can't. All right, guys. So after you have written your examples, I hope that you're able to get a better understanding of the abilities with the verbs can and can't. Let's move on to the next one. So here we have possibilities. Remember, the last one was going to be for abilities. Now we're going to talk about possibilities. So it says, at Lee and Sons, can you have a lot of fun? And then we have some useful language down here. It says, can you? Yes, we can. No, we can't. So let's come up with our own examples. Can you go to the beach in your city? Here we have a question, right? And then remember that the answer form is going to be maybe yes, you can, or maybe no, you can't. Depends on your city. What about if I ask you guys something about possibilities? Can you um can you do your homework in a noisy place? Can you do your homework in a noisy place? I have an extra letter here. So can you do your homework in a noisy place? Yes, you can. Or maybe, no, you can't. So maybe for this one, we'll put, no, I can't, right? No, I can't. So I'll give you guys a moment, come up with your own questions and see if you can use the proper use of can for possibilities, right? Very well. So hopefully you guys were able to come up with some of your own. Remember that this is a possibility and it's going to be very similar, but we use the same structure. Can you plus the verb. Can you dance? Can you swim? Can you go? Etc. Okay? All right. So let's erase and we will go to the next one. So this is more practice, guys. So go ahead and pause the video here if you would like to add some more examples of can and can't. Make sure to practice the answer forms. And for those of you who have already practiced, we're going to continue. So now we have this and these. So remember that this is going to be singular and these is plural. So it says complete the conversation with this, these, and the words in the box. So let's take a look at our vocabulary. We have museum, our tickets, photos, your train. So let's see if we can do this together. So we have a question. We can see that this is a question. And to identify which question we're going to use here, we have to take a look at the answer first. So it says, yes, it is. We're going home, right? So if we're going home, maybe we would have to see which one is here. So I believe this would be train. So let's go ahead and write the question. How do we write the question, guys? See if you can come up with it yourself. Is it singular? Is it plural? Are we going to use this or these? It's singular. We can see that it's singular because in the answer, it is. It's just singular. So is this your train? Yes, it is. We're going home. What about number two, guys? Let's take a look at number two. See if you guys can answer number two. That's right. Are these our tickets? Yes. We need them for the bus tour. What about number three? how can we complete number 3? Oops, we forgot to add, are these, now we have plural, are these our tickets? Yes, we need them for our bus tour. What about number 3? That's right. So this one is going to be this museum is really nice. Yes, it has a lot of beautiful pictures. And then finally, the last one. How can we complete the last one? Um, these photos are cool. Thanks. They're from our vacation. So remember, this is going to be singular and these is going to be plural. This and these. So go ahead and pause the video and come up with your own examples. This for singular, these for plural. So now I'm going to erase and we can continue with the next one. So here we have the grammar. So like to, want to, need to, and have to. So now we have to complete the questions. Let's see if we can do this together. The first example is, um, what do you usually need to do before a vacation, right? So we have the question form and we're going to use need to do, right? Need to plus the base form of the verb. What do you usually need to do before a vacation? I'll do one more with you guys and then I'll give you the opportunity to complete them yourselves. Um, so here we have number 2. It says, do you have to fly to your favorite destination? And now we have a yes and no question. Remember, yes and no questions with the auxiliary do. All right, guys. So go ahead and try to complete the rest of the activities, and then we will check it together in a few moments. If you need more time, remember you can always pause the video to complete. If not, we can go ahead and continue. So, do you like to travel with family or friends? Right? Another yes and no questions. Do you? Number 4, when does your family want to go on vacation next year, right? When does your family want to go on vacation next year? So here we have want to for desires. Remember that each one is going to be different. Like to is for preferences. Want to is for desires, something you want to do. Need and have to are going to be a little bit stronger. Need to is maybe a necessity, and then have to is kind of an obligation. So keep that in mind as you guys are going through these few questions here. Number 5, where do you want to stay on your next vacation, right? Where do you want to stay on your next vacation? Another information question. Number 6, do your parents need to do or go, sorry, on business trips? And then number 7, does a good vacation have to be expensive? Excellent. So we have one more, and the last one is, how does, or do, because it's plural, how do your best friends usually like to travel? Fantastic, guys. So this is a perfect activity for you guys to practice the questions as well as the different uses of like to, want to, need to, and have to. So right now I'm going to ask you to pause the video and answer the questions so that you guys can practice not just the questions, but also the answers. So go ahead, take a couple moments and answer the questions. In the meantime, we can erase. Since this is a video, you can pause it. We'll go to the next one. Here we have the answers. What do you usually need to do before a vacation? Go ahead and answer. Do you have to fly to your favorite destination? Come up with your answer. And then down here at the bottom, we have some useful language that you guys can use to answer the questions. So go ahead and pause the video and you guys can complete the questions. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about be going to. It says complete the sentences with be, not, going to, and the verb in parentheses. Remember that be going to is going to be for the future, always with the verb to be. So how can we complete number 1? Let's do number 1 as an example. I am going to, and then the verb is be. I am going to be home tomorrow. I have to work. Oh, so this is negative. Let's change this to negative. I am not going to be home tomorrow. I have to work at the office. What about number 2? How can we complete number 2? That's right. I am going to study. a lot next week. I have an important test. Also remember, guys, that the verb after be going to is going to remain in the normal form, the base form. I'll give you guys a couple moments and you have to complete number 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's do it together. My friend isn't going to meet me tonight. She's sick. Number 4, my parents aren't going to take me out to lunch on Saturday. They're busy. And then finally, my friends and I are going to go on a trip to Rio next year. We have our tickets. So hopefully you were able to get all of those questions correct. Make sure to read the sentence completely so you understand if it's negative or affirmative. And remember that we always have to use the base form of the verb. Very well. Let's erase and we can continue. So here we have the answers. And I want you guys to pause the video here and it says, now change the sentences so that they are true for you. For example, I am not going to be home tomorrow. I have to work at the office. Tomorrow for me is Sunday. So I do not have to work tomorrow. So I am going to be home tomorrow. I don't have to work at the office. So we change the sentence so that it's true for us. So go ahead and take a moment and pause the video so that you guys can complete. So let's talk a little bit about the questions. So questions with be going to. It says put the words in the correct order to make questions. So let's do the first one together. And then I'll give you guys a moment to complete on your own. What are you going to do after class? Remember that the proper structure, WH question, verb to be, subject, going to, and then we have the, we have the verb to be and then the actual verb of the sentence. So what are you going to do after class? Let's do one more together. Are you going to study this weekend? Right? So for yes and no questions, instead of WH, now we begin with the verb to be. Are you going to study this weekend? So now I'll give you guys some time to complete the other questions and then we can check together. All right. If you need more time, please pause the video. If not, we're going to complete. Is your best friend going to meet you next week? Is your best friend going to meet you next week? Yes, she is. No, she isn't. What about number 4? When are you going to buy some new clothes? When are you going to buy some new clothes? What about number 5? Are you, let's see. So this one we have parents. Are you going, let's see. So are your parents going to be at home tomorrow? Very well. Hopefully you guys are getting all of these correct. And then we have the last one. Um, where is your family going to have lunch this Sunday? All right, guys, please check your answers and make sure that you understand the difference between WH questions and yes and no questions, always following the proper structure. If you need more time, please pause the video. If not, we are going to continue. Here you have the answers. You can go ahead and check your answers. And then we're going to talk about the past. So let's talk a little bit about the past. Remember that the past form of the verb to be is was, were, okay? So let's come up with some examples. I was at the museum. I wasn't at, I wasn't at home, right? Maybe we could change this. Let's do our own examples. I was playing video games yesterday. I wasn't listening to music. Okay? So see if you guys can come up with your own examples using was, were. Let's do one example here of were. They were very nice people. So remember that we're going to use were for plural, was for singular. So go ahead and pause the video there and come up with your own examples so that you can practice the past form of the verb to be. Very well. If you need more time, please pause the video. If not, we're going to clear the screen and continue. Okay, guys, so we are almost done. Now we have some questions of the simple past. It says complete the questions on your worksheet, then ask and answer the questions with a partner. For example, who was your favorite teacher at school? Mrs. Castillo was my favorite teacher. Who was your favorite teacher? So let's come up with some questions, maybe 3 or 4 questions on your own, and then we can practice asking each other. Who was, or maybe what was your favorite food as a child? What was your favorite food as a child? And go ahead and answer. Where was your favorite vacation as a child? So always using the verb to be with the question forms. I'll give you guys a couple moments. Go ahead and make your own questions, and then we can continue to practice. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to write some good questions. Please let me know if you have any questions. If not, we're going to continue. So here we have a little activity, but we have to write the correct form of the verbs to be. Remember that in English, we have regular verbs and irregular verbs, and these are very important to memorize because they don't follow a specific rule. So I'll give you guys a moment. Let's see if we can come up with the past form of the verbs. Very well. Let's go with the first one. What is the past of buy? What do you think? That's right. It's bought. What about want? So I think want is a regular verb. So this one would just be ed, right? Wanted. However, drink is going to be different. Drink is going to be drank. What about like? Is like regular or irregular? Let's see. That's right. It's regular. What about go? Regular or irregular? Right. It's irregular. Went. What about number 6? Try. Very well. Tried. Have. This one is a common verb. Had, but it is irregular. Here we have stay. Stayed. Take. Took. And finally, chat. Chatted. All right, guys. So again, very important to memorize. So make sure to practice the different past forms. If you need a moment, go ahead and pause the video, but we are going to continue now. And here we can see the answers, okay? So make sure to identify which ones are the regular and irregular verbs. Okay, guys, I hope that this review today is able to help you prepare for the final exam. Remember that your tutors are always available via email. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and reach out to them, and they are always happy to help. As always, guys, it was my pleasure.